A global trial to find new ways to treat the most dire COVID-19 patients is happening here in Utah.
The people who are on life support treatments because their lungs are failing.
Who is eligible and how you can try to get involved.
The homeless population is facing some unique challenges to getting the COVID-19 vaccination. We'll talk about what they are.
We're learning more about one of the 4 men accused of participating in the Capitol insurrection. What we found out coming up.
It's been a windy Wednesday here across the state, especially across southern Utah. Coming up, I'm tracking record heat, when this wind will die down, and what you can expect for the upcoming weekend.
We had parents begging us, please don't close, please don't close.
Child care programs were pushed to their limits financially during the pandemic. We'll show you a new grant program that may help keep their services open a little longer.
Everybody keeps saying, oh, just snap out of it, but it's not just snap out of it.
And an in-depth look at depression. How a Utah company study is shedding light on something that's being overlooked by many.
Live from Utah's news leader, Fox 13's Live at 5 starts right now.
First at 5, researchers in Utah are working to find ways to help extremely sick COVID-19 patients. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Kelly Chapman.
And I'm Bob Evans. Fox 13 Sydney Glenn joins us live from Intermountain Medical Center in Murray, where they are taking part in a new global clinical study. Sydney.
Bob and Kelly, researchers right here at Intermountain are trying to help the sickest of the sick COVID-19 patients. That means they are part of this clinical trial that's trying out 2 different drugs to hopefully save some lives. Everyone wants one thing.
You want this damn virus to be gone. We want to be done with it.
Unfortunately, Dr. Samuel Brown says we aren't quite there yet.
But even with us working at the time of the speed of light, essentially, to get these vaccines out, and the vaccines being very effective, it's still the case that not everybody's vaccinated yet. And while we work to get control through vaccination, we continue to need treatments.
Dr. Brown says there have been some successful treatments for more mild cases of COVID-19, but one group of patients is in desperate need of a drug that works.
But so far, we've been struggling to find therapies that will work for the sickest of the sick, the people who are on life support treatments because their lungs are failing.
Most patients who die from COVID-19 have what's called acute respiratory distress syndrome, or ARDS. Dr. Brown says it's an extremely dangerous lung problem that can kill people or leave them with lasting side effects.
So there's been real hunger to have treatments that might work.
This new trial is starting small, with only a handful of Utah patients being enrolled at first, but is expected to grow and quickly as long as things go well. Now, Dr. Brown says when it comes to a timeline for results, it could come in as little as a couple of months, or it could take much longer.
And it depends on how many patients have COVID at the places that we're able to offer the trial to patients.
Right now, both Intermountain and University of Utah Health are part of this research study, but this is also being done not only nationally, but globally as well. Live in Murray, Sydney Glenn, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Thank you so much. If you have a loved one right now suffering from COVID-19 who is critically ill with acute respiratory distress syndrome and they're being treated at one of the participating hospitals, talk to their doctor about possibly getting them into this trial.
24,712 more vaccinations have been administered in Utah since yesterday. That brings the total to 2,097,937. 905,863 Utahns are now considered fully vaccinated.
There are an additional 518 confirmed cases of COVID-19 in Utah. 4 more people have died from the virus. 141 people are currently hospitalized with COVID-19. The positivity rate on tests conducted is now 6.4%. Well, final preparations are now underway for President Joe Biden's address to a joint session of Congress tonight.
With almost 100 days in office, the president is expected to outline some of his administration's accomplishments thus far, as well as some of the policy initiatives he'd like to see Congress go to work on.
Lauren Blanchard has the latest from Capitol Hill.
President Biden's speech will come on the eve of his 100th day in office. He is expected to unveil details of his American Families Plan. It's one of the most important speeches of Joe Biden's presidency so far. His chance to talk about his job as commander-in-chief and where he wants to take the country.
What people will hear from him tonight is not just how far we've come, but the fact that government can work, democracy can work. Now's the time to be bold.
The speech tonight is a joint address to Congress. Inside the House chamber, it will look vastly different from years past due to coronavirus restrictions. Many lawmakers will watch from home or their offices. Democrats hope President Biden can outline his accomplishments, like the COVID relief bill, the American Rescue Plan, his infrastructure bill, the American Jobs Plan, and a new American Families Plan, a $1.8 trillion spending package aimed at child care and education.
Parts of that plan are overwhelmingly popular. Pre-K is overwhelmingly popular. Paid family and sick leave is overwhelmingly popular.
Members of the GOP have blasted President Biden's proposals and say he hasn't done much to unify the country. Senator Tim Scott will give the rebuttal to lay out Republican priorities.
The Biden administration seems to have given up on selling actual unity in favor of catnip for their liberal base.
Tonight, there are expected to be about 200 people in attendance, including 80 House members and 60 senators. On Capitol Hill, Lauren Blanchard, Fox 13 News, Utah.
While many have their opinions of the president's first 100 days in office, how do political analysts feel he's performed so far?
We spoke in depth today with Jason Perry on Fox 13's News Live at noon. He is the executive director of the Hinckley Institute of Politics. Perry believes that given President Biden's long-standing history in politics, he is prepared to address those major issues in this evening's address.
He spent 36 years in the Senate, 8 years as vice president. He came in with a fully loaded agenda, and he's acting like someone that has known what he wanted to do the entire time.
Perry also believes that while much of the president's legislation has advanced without support from the Republican Party, this evening could present a new opportunity to reach across the aisle.
The president's speech will begin at 7 o'clock this evening. We will carry it live right here on Fox 13, also on our website, fox13now.com, as well as the Fox 13 Facebook page, and on Roku, Apple, and Fire TV. And because of the speech, our primetime programming will be delayed, including The Masked Singer. Then stay tuned for Fox 13 News Live at 9.
My goodness, what a beautiful spring day in northern Utah today. I trust it was this way all over the state.
It's actually pretty windy across southern Utah right now, so not quite as comfortable as it is here for northern Utah. And even into Utah County, that wind is gusting in Provo at 25 miles per hour, but definitely noticeable wind, especially into Blanding, Bryce, over through Cedar City and up towards Milford right now. It's also breezy Ely, Elko, and in Evanston. But temperature-wise, Bob, you're absolutely correct. Look at these temperatures in the 60s for the Wasatch Front. It's even in the 60s up in the mountains right now in Eden, looking and feeling so nice. Heber 64, Park City 52, Alta currently 44 degrees. St. George 75. We do have a lot of sunshine here across the state. Our storm has moved off towards our southeast. High pressure takes hold across the region, so we have a lot of sunshine in our forecast. But for tonight at 10 p.m., 52 degrees, not a bad way to end the evening as you wake up tomorrow morning. Still close to 50 degrees with clear sky, and by noon tomorrow, mid 60s. I'm tracking 80s and 90s here across the state as we start heading into the weekend. And then we have some more chances for rain. I'll let you know details of that next storm coming up in the full forecast.
Allison, thank you. Still to come, one of the Apollo 11 astronauts has passed away. We'll take a look back at the life of Michael Collins.
Plus, Uber has dominated ride sharing and food delivery, and now they're taking on a new challenge. We'll explain. In national news today, a North Carolina judge ordered a delay in the public release of police body camera video related to the fatal shooting of Andrew Brown Jr.
Brown's family, however, will be allowed to view the video, but the sheriff's office cannot release it to the public for at least 30 days. Brown was killed by sheriff's deputies 1 week ago as they tried to serve a drug-related warrant. The FBI has launched a civil rights investigation into the shooting. A funeral for Brown will be held Monday.
Federal agents raided former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani's home this morning. Agents seized several electronic devices, including laptops and cell phones. A similar raid was conducted at his Manhattan office. Giuliani has been under investigation for several years now over his alleged business dealings in Ukraine. The FBI is looking into whether he violated the Foreign Agents Registration Act by lobbying the Trump administration on behalf of Ukrainian officials back in 2019.
He was once known as the loneliest man in history. Apollo 11 command module pilot Michael Collins, who made history alongside Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, has died of cancer. His family confirmed his death on social media today. Collins orbited the moon in the command module, while Armstrong and Aldrin walked on the moon for the first time in 1969. NASA says Collins was also the third American to perform a spacewalk. Before becoming an astronaut, Collins was an Air Force pilot. He was 90 years old. Still ahead, the Department of Workforce Services is helping summer child care programs in Utah rebound from the pandemic. How much they have to offer in grants.
And an in-depth look, Utahns are more likely to report symptoms of depression than Americans as a whole do. Coming up, a survey released today shows what people experience from friends and loved ones when they're depressed.
Utah's homeless population continues to face barriers when it comes to getting vaccinated.
But as Spencer Joseph explains, advocates are optimistic about recent efforts to get the vaccine to those hard-to-reach Utahns.
We need to protect an extremely vulnerable population that traditionally doesn't have access to the type of medical care that the general population does.
The effort to get the homeless population in the state of Utah vaccinated is ramping up, with new mobile sites continuing.
It's imperative that we look beyond traditional strategies of mass vaccination clinics.
This is Angel Castillo, a community advocate who walked us through the challenges the community is facing.
The homeless population has the exact same concerns as the regular population. There's always a percentage that is a bit concerned about efficacy and about rumors that you hear in the media.
But there are some other difficulties. Up until last month, the Johnson & Johnson vaccines were the way to go for the homeless population. But with the pause, that became more difficult.
The one shot is the easiest answer, because if you have a challenge with getting to a clinic in the first place, imagine how hard it's going to be to get back there on 3 weeks later when you're supposed to have your second vaccine.
Now that the pause of the J&J vaccine is over, things are getting back on track. But now the problem becomes something the state is talking about a lot recently: access.
You have problems with accessing transportation. You have issues with a stable address. And if you were to go through a traditional vaccine clinic, all of those things are required.
The solution, moving towards pop-up clinics, which is a big push across the state.
Putting mobile clinics in places that are easily accessible, rural populations and urban populations. The unsheltered community exists in all of those spaces. People are only going to go to places that they trust, and with the homeless population, that has a tendency to be things that are clinics, that are churches, that are schools, that are safe.
And putting effort into those community clinics for the homeless population, as well as other vaccine hesitance groups, is only going to grow in importance.
These small mobile clinics across the state of Utah are what's going to get us to where we need to be for that goal of 70%.
Spencer Joseph, Fox 13 News, Utah.
And Angel Castillo, who you just heard from, is involved in putting on a Johnson & Johnson clinic this weekend in Ogden. It'll be from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. on Saturday at the Ogden City School District offices. No appointment is necessary. Walk-ins are welcome. Health insurance will not be required, and shots are free to those 18 and older. Castillo and other partners hope to continue doing this type of clinic to help those individuals gain access with a single shot of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. Utahns experience depression at rates significantly higher than the national average.
Now, a new national study from a Utah company shows most Americans with depression don't get the support they need. Max Roth is going in depth this evening on that issue. Hi, Max.
Yeah, hello, Kelly and Bob. You know, the company GeneSight is part of Salt Lake City-based Myriad Genetics. And they just released a poll today that shows most people with depression feel misunderstood, and around half of them feel a sense of shame or embarrassment.
They cause symptoms that affect how you feel, how you think, and how you handle daily life.
If that sounds familiar, you have company, especially in Utah. In 2019, 23% of Utah adults reported experiencing depression in their lifetime. Nationally, the number is 19%, but it can hit anyone. Former members of the military told the VA what they experienced.
Didn't really want to be around people. I tried to isolate myself and stay away from others.
48% of people with depression say they feel ashamed or embarrassed when others learn of their diagnosis, according to the new national survey from GeneSight.
Everybody keeps saying, oh, just snap out of it, but it's not just snap out of it, because you don't see that light at the end of the tunnel.
Snap out of it. You need to get over it. We all get sad sometimes. 42% of people with depression reported hearing those things.
Tried a couple of things, like antidepressants. At first they didn't work really well. I went back and we talked about it more and we kind of changed some things. And then it started to help a lot.
52% of people with the diagnosis went through that kind of treatment change during the pandemic.
If you think you might have depression, talk to a trusted friend, family member, or healthcare provider.
The survey says that is crucial. 83% of respondents said life would be easier if others could understand what they're going through.
Like I said, I always feel like that man out on the island, and that's just not so. There are so many different people who are going through the exact same thing.
There are a lot of us who know depression is real and seeking help is important. Now, GeneSight worked with the DBSA, the Depression and Bipolar Support Alliance, for this survey. They're one resource, and there are others out there. Those resources include supportive people around you. We'll provide some links to those from fox13now.com. But for now, live in studio, Max Roth, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Max, thank you so much. All right, let's talk about the weather now. It's beautiful, right? Gorgeous day. This is a pond. Take a look here. Trying to figure out, here we go, 1900 North and Redwood Road. When it comes to nice temperatures and like being in the zone, I think for a lot of you, at least in the northern part of the state, today really hit the mark.
It really did. Left the heavy coat at home today, Allison.
Yes, and you won't need that for quite a while. Now here in Salt Lake City, plenty of sunshine currently. Temperatures in the 60s. Feels like that 63 still with our wind out of the west at 17 miles per hour. Now it's not quite as comfortable across southern Utah because we have very gusty conditions, blending close to 40 miles per hour right now. It's also pretty breezy into Utah County, down towards Price, Bryce, Cedar, and also Milford. But we head into the next couple of days. High pressure takes hold. So what that means for you is grab those sunglasses tomorrow morning when you leave the house. And as Bob was saying, you can just take that lighter jacket first thing tomorrow morning. And then by the second half of the day, you won't even need it. Temperatures here across the state currently, it's about 60 to 65 almost across the board. St. George mid-70s, Evanston 59, but it is quite a bit warmer than this time 24 hours ago. As you can see here, it's a good 10 to 20 degrees warmer out there. But it's going to be breezy tonight, especially for southwestern Utah. So satellite and radar here across the state, the little red arrows that you're seeing, those are our wind barbs, and we're going to end up with breezy conditions for southwestern Utah tonight. And then come tomorrow, we're going to have lots of sunshine and even warmer temperatures. So winds across the state right now, mostly sustained about 10 to 15 miles per hour. But once you get into that southern third of the state, mostly south of I-70, those gustiest conditions. And then looking at our wind through the evening, the areas of yellow that you're seeing, that's wind about 25 to 35 miles per hour. And then the areas of red that you're seeing, you can see on that little graph up there, the legend, it's about 35 to 45 miles per hour. So we will have some pockets of strong wind gusts from Vernal down through Price all the way into Washington County, and we'll see breezy conditions at times through the morning commute tomorrow, and then things will really settle down. But lots of sunshine here across the state for your Thursday. But for the rest of your Wednesday evening, we're going to have temperatures in the 60s for a few more hours, and then come 9 o'clock, clear and back into the 50s. That's for Salt Lake City. For St. George, you're in the 70s until 9 o'clock tonight. Then you're back into the 60s, but a beautiful afternoon here across Utah, minus all of that wind. So gusty canyon winds for southwestern Utah this evening. And then we will end up with lots of sunshine until Friday into Saturday. And come Saturday night, we'll start seeing some chances for rain to return here across the region. But overnight temps tomorrow morning, first thing at 7 a.m. will be about 35 to 45 degrees here across the state, mid-50s for St. George. And by tomorrow afternoon, highs will be about 70 to 75 degrees here across Utah, even into the 60s for Park City. So a nice spring day here across the state, 80s for St. George. And if you think 80 is hot, get ready for Friday and Saturday. Definitely going to be a scorcher. If your air conditioning is not working, I would recommend getting somebody out ASAP because it is going to be hot as we wrap up this week. But our wind picks up this weekend. That's ahead of our next storm, which I'll talk more about in our next 7-day forecast. For Salt Lake, 60s, 70s, and even 80s over the next week. Your next full forecast is coming up later this hour.
A Washington County man is charged in connection with the insurrection at the U.S. Capitol. He faced a federal judge today. What we're learning about him and why he's cooperating with the FBI.
We have to do better as a state when it comes to prosecuting perpetrators of sexual assault.
Plus, the unique ways community leaders are raising awareness to sexual assault and supporting survivors.
And a new partnership among several police agencies dedicated to protecting people on the autism spectrum in a worst-case scenario. Samsung has unveiled 4 new mobile-first notebooks.
They are pretty fancy, Bob. They combine the power of a laptop with the responsiveness of Samsung's Galaxy smartphones. Now, the screens feature an intelligent color engine that adjusts to the colors on the screen based on the task the user is doing. I don't quite get that, but again, I think this is very high-tech.
It is.
They also have a long-lasting battery, that's always good, and an updated S Pen, noise-canceling microphones, and deep integration with smartphones. The Galaxy Book can be flattened to 180 degrees. The Galaxy Book Pro, even further, 360 degrees. It has hinges, so it can be transformed into a tablet as well. Both models are available now for pre-order. They start at $1,000 and $1,200.
Boy, it is high-tech. Beginning today, you can rent an entire car through Uber and put yourself in the driver's seat. The nationwide program is called Uber Rent and will offer cars from brands like Avis and Hertz. Prices will be set by the rental companies, not by Uber, but Uber does get a cut of the action. Uber even offers a way to deliver cars contactless, given social distancing concerns. This car rental technology is not new. Uber competitor Lyft has been offering car rentals in its app since 2019.
How about this? Do you and your family want to go on a train ride? This could be really fun, a great summer vacation idea. Amtrak is turning 50 and they want you to help them celebrate. The rail line is offering half-off sales. That perked my ears. You can get a fare for $50 or less per segment across the entire country. The offer is valid through May 5th. It does include future travel between June 2nd all the way until November 13th of this year.
U.S. stocks ticked lower today after the Federal Reserve said it would stick to the loose monetary policy that has underpinned the market's rally in recent months. The Dow dropped 165 points to close at 33,820. The Nasdaq lost 39. The S&P slipped 4.
Coming up in our next half hour, a homicide suspect has been captured after 2 days on the run. We'll explain how police found him and how they had trouble taking him into custody.
A 45-year-old real estate agent from Tokerville is just one of the men accused of participating in the Capitol insurrection. I'll tell you more about him coming up.
And we'll explain why wearing a pair of denim jeans is making a big difference to a lot of people today. This is video from the January 6th riot at the U.S. Capitol. In his address to Congress tonight, President Biden will call it the, quote, worst attack on our democracy since the Civil War.
The fourth Utah man accused of participating in the riot at the U.S. Capitol was scheduled in federal court today.
Haley Higgins has new information about suspect Jake Pert.
Well, Pert came to the FBI 2 weeks after the insurrection and before investigators even knew who he was. Now, I spoke to him on the phone today. He did not want to interview, but it appears that he has been cooperating with the FBI months before his charges.
Willard Pert, who goes by Jake, posted this selfie to social media outside the U.S. Capitol building on January 6th. He's a well-known real estate agent in Washington County and father of 5. The DOJ says Pert admitted to going to the nation's capital for a President Trump rally. The 45-year-old confessed he went into the Capitol near the Senate chamber and was chanting and yelling out for politicians. At one point, he wrapped himself in a red Trump flag. In court documents, an FBI agent wrote Pert intended to disrupt the Electoral College certification. Quote, while inside, Pert's conduct was disorderly and disruptive. Going on to say, quote, at no time did Pert have permission to be inside the U.S. Capitol building. Surveillance shows him interacting with FBI agents who escorted him out of the building. For nearly 4 years, Pert served on the Tokerville Planning Commission beginning in 2015. Meeting minutes show he would occasionally lead commissioners in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance.
Well, Pert is charged with unlawfully entering the Capitol and then demonstrating once inside. He is not accused of harming anyone or destroying property, according to the charging documents. Reporting in Salt Lake City, Haley Higgins, Fox 13 News, Utah.
There have been 3 other Utahns arrested in connection with the U.S. Capitol insurrection.
Brady Knowlton from St. George is the most recent person to be charged for his role in the Capitol riot. Now, before the insurrection, Knowlton was a reality TV star, well known to help legalize catching catfish with your bare hands in Texas, also known as noodling.
Former Salt Lake City police officer Michael Harden of Kaysville was arrested at the beginning of this month on several charges. He is a former homicide detective and retired from Salt Lake City 4 years ago.
And the first Utahn arrested in connection with the January 6th incident was this man, activist John Sullivan. He's now facing several charges, including obstruction of Congress and interfering with police.
One person is dead after being hit by a large vehicle in Salt Lake this afternoon. It happened just before 1:30 at 2215 North Redwood Road. Police say the person was hit on private property. The call originally came in as an industrial accident, but police tell us the victim was actually hit by a vehicle. No other information is being released at this point.
In Woods Cross, a motorcyclist is critically injured today after crashing with a car. It happened a little before 1 o'clock this afternoon. Woods Cross police say the rider is a 65-year-old man. He was flown to the hospital and is now listed in stable condition. The crash did affect traffic on 500 West from 1950 South to 2200 South. The driver of the car was not hurt.
The Salt Lake City murder suspect from 2 days ago is behind bars after a 12-hour standoff with SWAT officers in Magna. Detectives say 33-year-old William Henry Clark allegedly shot and killed 21-year-old Ryan Pendergast at a homeless encampment at 900 South and 500 West. Yesterday, police tracked Clark to a Magna apartment where he was ultimately arrested early this morning. Officers finally put tear gas into the apartment overnight, forcing Clark to surrender.
Apartments on the same level were evacuated above, below. So there's numerous people that were displaced from their, residence for 12, 14 hours.
No word yet on the suspect's motive. One of the things that complicated negotiations overnight was that the suspect's 14-year-old son was in the apartment with him and refused to come out. The teen was treated for exposure to tear gas and released.
A suspect is now in police custody in connection with an Amber Alert issued overnight for a little 6-year-old boy. Unified Police say they tracked down 35-year-old Julian Ulibarri's car in South Salt Lake. And Fox 13 News recorded it being towed away. You see it here. Our crew also witnessed a woman being taken away in handcuffs. Authorities say the young boy is safe.
Everybody's safe, and that's the big thing for us every time we can't handle a call. We want to make sure everybody is, if we can resolve it safely, we do. And in a child abduction, obviously getting that child back is our #1 priority, and we're happy we were able to do that.
No word yet on how the suspect and the child are related. Charges are pending.
Today, people wore jeans to show support for survivors of sexual assault. This is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. The Utah Coalition Against Sexual Assault, community leaders, and law enforcement wore jeans today. Denim Day goes back more than 20 years when the Italian Supreme Court overturned a rape conviction because the victim was wearing tight jeans at the time of the attack and must have, they ruled, helped her attacker take them off, implying consent. The next day, the women in the Italian parliament wore denim to show solidarity with the survivor. Advocates stress no matter what, consent is never implied.
For a long time, I really felt like I wasn't worth anything.
If you see something, say something about it, because sometimes the survivors aren't going to feel comfortable coming forward, but we want to say that we will believe you.
Community partners agree more work needs to be done at every level to ensure survivors feel safe and heard.
Crews had a lot to clean up this morning on I-80 near Bangerter Highway. All because of this, a dump truck trailer tipped over, spilling trash in several westbound lanes. Traffic was able to get by while a heavy-duty wrecker helped clear the scene. Luckily, no one was hurt.
A new project is helping local law enforcement agencies better serve those with special needs. Project Safeguard is a voluntary online registry that provides police with access to important information about a person with special needs. Rapid access to a person's name, emergency contact information, known triggers and behaviors helps officers during an initial response. It can even allow for dispatch to preemptively send an officer trained in crisis intervention.
What this is more of the collaboration. So we're all sharing that same information because, as we know, people don't always necessarily stay in UPD's jurisdiction. They may wander from ours into Salt Lake City or Sandy or Midvale. So having that ability to share all that information is what's really key here.
10 agencies are currently participating in Project Safeguard.
Didn't the sunshine look and feel good today?
Oh, yeah.
Allison, I was telling Bob before I actually came into work, entered the building earlier this afternoon, I sat in my car for like 10, 15 minutes just laying there in the sun.
We wondered where you were.
It was like a cat, you know, sunning itself. It's hard to decide.
It may be factor sometime in tomorrow morning to get outside and enjoy it because tomorrow's going to be, dare I say it, even better than today. But right now here in Salt Lake City, beautiful blue sky, 60s across the board for most of the state. Ogden currently 66, Provo 63, with our wind gusting in Provo about 25 miles per hour. Now the problem for today, very windy across southern Utah. It's also windy up towards Evanston and over towards Ely and Elko. So we look at the forecast for the next couple of days and we have lots of sunshine to tell you about. Now our previous storm's now off to our southeast. We're left with sunshine and warming and drying the next couple of days. So we're going to have very warm temperatures over the next week. But for tonight, for that evening drive, mid-60s, dry roads. For tomorrow morning, if the kids need to walk to school, no problems, 46 degrees, a very light jacket tomorrow morning. But it's going to be hot the next couple of days, potentially some record heat here across the region, and then some more changes. I'll have details coming up in the full forecast.
All right, Allison, thank you. Still ahead, a local media arts education group has a new headquarters. We'll show you where and what it means for thousands of Utah students.
And oh boy, this is big, big, big. Country superstar Garth Brooks is coming to Utah.
I've got friends in low places.
Wow, I want to be one of those friends. We're going to tell you how you and your family can get in on buying tickets, also when the concert is. We're back in 60 seconds. Welcome back, everyone. Good evening as well. A new state-of-the-art building focused on investing in Utah's children was dedicated in downtown Salt Lake City this morning. SpyHop provides project-based programming education to more than 11,000 K-12 students statewide. Their new 22,000 square foot headquarters were made possible by both public and private donations. It was dedicated right at the corner of 200 West and 900 South.
I'm moved to stand at such a dramatically changed environment here at the heart of Central 9th, and such an incredibly beautiful place where our kids can be welcomed into the future. So I'm humbled, and I'm hopeful, and I'm grateful for every single one of you for putting your hearts into this. Let's stay with it.
It's a really cool facility. The new building features offices, programming and classroom spaces, production facilities, also a community event and performance venue.
Students from the University of Utah's top-ranked video games program are showing off games they created over the last year. The entertainment and engineering program is the U's nationally recognized games program. This year's EAE launch event is bigger than before because it's being held virtually. More than 20 video games from the U's program are going to be shown off.
We normally have some rules about the types of games, what kinds of games, for example, no multiplayer games or no platformers. But this year, everything was off. Students could do whatever they wanted. And yeah, and they did amazing things. You're going to see some amazing games.
The EAE launch event will stream tonight until about 8:30.
There's a new child care grant program that businesses can apply for. I'm Erin Cox, and coming up next, I'm going to break down the details for you and what you need to know.
Coming up in sports, I'll tell you why it'll pay you to wear a white shirt to RSL's home opener on Saturday. And the Utah Valley women's soccer team made history today in the NCAA tournament. The highlights are on the way.
The Department of Workforce Services is offering $5 million to help summer child care programs in Utah rebound from the pandemic.
It's a lot of money to give out. Some program directors tell Fox 13's Erin Cox that without these grants, their services would not be available.
The Little Scholars Learning Center here in Taylorsville can be filled with about 95 students when it's at full capacity.
We did see a drop in our average daily attendance.
In the pandemic, the center saw around 70 students.
About a 20 to 30% drop.
That drop in attendance and drop in tuition almost put them under.
Not only were you worried about, the financial aspect, but, we employ 40 teachers between the two locations and making sure they still had job security. We had parents begging us, please don't close, please don't close.
Staying open was a struggle, but Brittany Greenwood, who owns the Taylorsville Center, says they had help.
DWS really stepped up and kind of helped fill that gap.
The Department of Workforce Services offered pandemic relief and funding throughout the year, keeping Greenwood afloat. Because she took advantage of that funding, she's not eligible for this latest round, but DWS is offering $5 million in grants to help other struggling summer programs.
Up to $50,000 per program. And if an organization serves programs in multiple sites, we are offering up to $350,000 for organizations. As parents and families, their needs change because of this time of year.
Allowing a safe space for kids.
It's a huge benefit for the children.
And for those caring for them to realize they're going to make it.
It allowed us to keep our staff employed and progress with our goals and not just live in the pandemic.
We'll link you up to resources to see if your business does apply for these programs on our website, fox13now.com. We'll also share resources for parents who may be in need of child care services. In Taylorsville, Erin Cox, Fox 13 News, Utah.
All right, get your hat ready.
Oh, yeah.
Pull out your cowboy boots and get ready to party, country music fans.
That's right. Legendary superstar Garth Brooks. We've been singing his songs here.
We've been doing Garth karaoke.
Garth
karaoke. Give a little sample.
He's coming in concert to Salt Lake City this summer. Mark your calendars for July 17th. That's when he's going to play Rice-Eccles Stadium. Rain or shine, he will not be underwater, we don't think. All COVID-19 rules will apply at the concert, Kelly.
Oh my gosh, I would love to go to this. Tickets will go on sale 1 week from tomorrow, Thursday, May 6th at 10 o'clock in the morning. They're pretty pricey, $95 each, but I mean, hey, this is Garth Brooks.
You better save
up.
up.
Start saving up right now.
Save up.
Buyers are limited to a maximum of 8 tickets, so plan your party accordingly. If you would like more information, we have it all on our website. Go to fox13now.com.
I wonder if he'll bring the left shark and the right shark that he had behind them there.
These backup dancers, backup singers.
Oh, my goodness. Well, after having rain, now we're having shine, Allison.
Hey, I know, nature is healing itself. So we do have still a few cameras to check out because I wanted to see how the snow is doing. Cherry Peak, you can see why we have come to the end of ski season. A lot of that snow melting. The next camera to check out, this is Powder Mountain Timberline View. Gorgeous day here across the state. Very breezy across southern Utah, but here in Salt Lake City right now, a live look from Murray towards downtown. Temperatures in the 60s. Our wind out of the west at 17 miles per hour. I am all smiles with our 7-day forecast. Now for today, yes, wind. It's a windy Wednesday. It will be windy tonight, especially across southwestern Utah. But then our wind is going to calm down tomorrow. But right now that wind is gusting, especially into Utah County, about 25 miles per hour. So for Salt Lake, the rest of the evening, we'll have that sunshine through about 8:30 tonight. Temperatures back into the 50s by 9 o'clock with clear sky. Top headlines for you, the windy day across southern Utah, and then we're going to have warm temperatures as we wrap up the week, 80s and even 90s, and then our next storm moves in Sunday into Monday. That's when we'll see our biggest impacts, actually starting on Saturday night. But an average high this time of year, 66 today, very close to average. We are dry across southern Utah and very windy. And for northern Utah, lots of sunshine as we are winding down on this Wednesday. So here across the state right now, it is a good 10 to 20 degrees warmer here across Utah compared to this time 24 hours ago. So we look at these temperatures and most of us are in the 60s. St. George currently 75 degrees. Forecast at a glance for tomorrow, Salt Lake, low 70s, Ogden, low 70s, Provo, low 70s. For central and southern Utah, Cedar City 74, Richfield 73, and St. George close to 85 to 90 over the next couple of days. Lots of sunshine. And for eastern Utah, Moab 81 tomorrow, Price 75, and for Vernal 73 degrees. So let's look at the next couple of days because, as I mentioned, we'll have some changes arriving. Tonight, wind will be the main story for southwestern Utah. Then come Saturday afternoon, a cold front is going to drop in. We will shift our wind out of the north so some cooler air spills in. So we will be cooling down by Saturday night into Sunday, not as hot as it will be on Friday. And then we're going to have very windy conditions out of the southwest. So we'll have potentially some fire concerns, but very windy conditions across the south. Then we'll have some chances for rain here across the state. Come Sunday night, we'll still have some rain here across the region, but that moves out pretty quickly. And then we're back to more sunshine. So temperature-wise, tomorrow morning as you first wake up, about 40 to 50 here across most of Utah. Then by tomorrow afternoon, temperatures will be around 70 to 80 degrees for most of the state. And for St. George, you are close to 95 for Friday and Saturday. Very windy for Sunday. And then temperatures still close to 80 to 90 next week. For the Wasatch Front, 70s tomorrow, 80s for Friday, close to 80 for Saturday, mid-60s Sunday into Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week, around 60 to 70 for highs. Overnight temps between 40 and 60 degrees here over the next week.
The Jazz will be shorthanded tonight in Sacramento. Donovan Mitchell will miss his 6th straight game with a sprained ankle, and Mike Conley is out with hamstring tightness. The rest of the team will try to end their 2-game losing streak, which has them just 1 game ahead of the Phoenix Suns for the #1 spot in the Western Conference.
You know, we're excited for the opportunity to break that 2-game losing streak against the Kings. Obviously, you can't sit and dwell in the NBA. You got to have amnesia. You lose a game, shoot, we got to go out there and get the next one. And then you lose 2 in a row. It's like, all right, now we really got to turn up our sense of urgency to, you know, really stop this losing streak. So we've addressed things internally, you know, of how we're going to do things and continue to step up and grow as a team. But nobody's here hitting the panic button. It was 2 games, and, you know, we're looking to improve going forward.
Real Salt Lake's home opener is this Saturday at noon against Sporting Kansas City. All the white seats at Rio Tinto Stadium are now blue to enhance the TV broadcast. So RSL encouraging fans that sit on the east side to not wear white to the game. Those that do will be giving this blue T-shirt for free. The team's focused on getting 3 more points after opening the season with a road win at Minnesota. That may have surprised national MLS media, but not RSL.
RSL is a club that's that has tradition. RSL is a club that has a great following in the state and the city. People love the team and the club, and that's what we pay attention to is our fans, the ones that motivate us on the day-to-day, and that gets us going. We know what our DNA is. We want to make sure that we outwork opponents. We want to make sure that we make it tough on opponents when they come in here and compete against any team that you put in front of us. We're not always going to win. But that's what we look to do and try to entertain the fans. And that's been the DNA of RSL is when you come and play RSL, you're going to play a team that's tough to play against.
The Utah Valley women's soccer team took on Memphis today in the first round of the NCAA tournament. After a scoreless first half, the Wolverines took advantage of a poor pass from the Memphis goalkeeper. Amber Tripp gets it to Sadie Brockbank. She controls it, shoots, and scores. The former Olympus High and La Roca player put Utah Valley up 1-0 in the 60th minute. The Wolverines held on to win it 1-0. It's their first ever win in the NCAA tournament in their third appearance. In fact, it's the first ever NCAA tournament team victory in any sport in Utah Valley Athletics history. They'll play 6th seed Arkansas on Saturday. 12th seed BYU had a first round bye. They'll also play on Saturday. We'll be right back.
President Joe Biden is going to address a joint session of Congress and the nation tonight. Starts at 7 o'clock here on Fox 13, also on our website, fox13now.com, on the Fox 13 Facebook page, and on Roku, Apple, and Fire TV. Consequently, our primetime programming schedule is going to be pushed back a little bit, including the Masked Singer. So stay tuned for Fox 13 News at 9 after that.
Have a great evening. We'll see you on later tonight.